So imagine being back in the womb. Right now, your brain is actually completely smooth.
Yeah, it really is. It only develops those signature wrinkled folds a bit later on.
Which is wild to think about.
Right. And there's actually a super practical reason for it. I mean, to pack billions of neurons into that rigid enclosed space of your skull, the brain literally has to fold in on itself just to maximize surface area.
So today we're taking a custom deep dive into this ultimate biological command center.
Exactly. And if you're a high school biology student studying for your test, this is basically your shortcut, to understanding not just what the parts are, but exactly why they work the way they do.
Right. But before we get into the thinking or moving stuff, we really have to look at the packaging because the brain is incredibly fragile.
Oh yeah, it's basically the consistency of wet gelatin.
Okay, so how does it survive a simple jog down the street?
Well, it needs intense protection. I mean, obviously you have the hard, bony box of the skull.
All right, the shipping box.
Exactly. But inside that, your brain and spinal cord are wrapped in 3 distinct layers of tissue called the meninges.
Okay, 3 layers.
Yeah, you've got the pia mater hugging the brain, then the arachnoid mater, and finally the really tough dura mater on the outside.
So if the skull is the box, the meninges are essentially 3 layers of biological bubble wrap.
That is a perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
And to finish the packaging, the whole thing is completely suspended in cerebrospinal fluid.
Oh, right, the CSF.
Yeah, and your brain makes about 500 milliliters of this every single day.
Wait, 500 milliliters? That's like an entire water bottle.
Pretty much, yeah. It acts as a vital, shock-absorbing liquid cushion against, any sudden rapid movements or impacts.
Okay, so we have this highly protected, isolated organ locked in a dark, fluid-filled vault.
Which sounds like a sci-fi movie.
It really does. But so how does it organize itself to actually do things like, say, walk into a classroom?
Well, all that labor is divided up into major structural regions. You've got the brainstem, the cerebrum, and the cerebellum.
Right, and the cerebrum is the big folded part we always picture, right?
Exactly, the one split into left and right hemispheres. It houses the motor cortex, which is where all your voluntary movements are planned out.
Okay, wait, I always get confused right here. If the cerebrum is making all the plans for my body to move, why do we even need the cerebellum at the back? I mean, isn't it kind of redundant?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Because a plan just isn't the same as execution.
Oh, okay.
The cerebellum is packed with these highly complex neurons called Purkinje cells. It takes those raw, clunky motor plans from the cerebrum and acts as the ultimate coordinator.
So it's smoothing things out.
Right. It calculates balance and timing and muscle coordination in real time. Without it, you might want to walk, but the physical action would be super jerky and chaotic.
Got it. So the cerebellum handles the physical output, but what about input? Like, how does this locked away organ process all the sensory data from the outside world without getting totally overwhelmed?
It uses a sort of biological noise-canceling algorithm. That's the thalamus.
The thalamus. Okay.
Yeah, the thalamus actively suppresses irrelevant sensory data, like, the feeling of your socks on your feet or the hum of the air conditioner.
Oh, wow. So your consciousness can actually focus on the biology test in front of you.
Exactly. And fun fact, only your sense of smell bypasses this filter entirely.
That is super interesting. But hey, when I stare at a blank question on that test and just totally panic, what is happening there?
Well, that would be your amygdala firing in the limbic system.
A danger alarm.
Right. And right next to it is the hippocampus, which is frantically trying to form and retrieve the memory of the answer you studied.
But to actually calm down, I need a different part, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you rely on the prefrontal cortex at the very front of your brain.
Okay.
That area manages your self-control and logic. It's basically your actual personality stepping in to solve the problem.
I mean, it sounds so mechanical, though, almost like a cold, unfeeling computer trying to balance error codes.
Well, it's easy to think of it as just an electrical machine. But actually, it's heavily reliant on chemical and hormonal regulation, too.
Right, the background magic.
Yeah, the brain uses glands to control the body,
Right.
like the pituitary gland, which manages your physical growth and metabolism.
And the pineal gland, too, right?
Okay, the pineal gland actually monitors for darkness, so it can secrete melatonin.
Which dictates your sleep-wake cycle.
Exactly.
So to make all these specialized areas, like the thalamus and the amygdala, work together, they obviously have to communicate.
Right.
And that comes down to the cellular grid, right? The white matter and gray matter.
Yes. The communication happens through individual nerve cells, or neurons. They send electrical impulses down this long tail called an axon.
Okay.
And to make sure that electrical signal doesn't leak out and travels really fast, special cells called oligodendrocytes act like microscopic electricians.
Oh, I love that analogy. Microscopic electricians.
Right, they wrap the axon in a fatty insulation tape called myelin.
And then that signal has to jump a tiny gap to the next cell,
Yeah.
right? The synapse?
Yes, exactly. It jumps across through chemical transmitters. And, the reason we even study this fragile cellular network is to understand what happens when it fails.
Like with Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah. In diseases like Alzheimer's, the progressive breakdown of these specific insulated nerve cells causes the brain to physically shrink.
Wow.
It literally loses that folded structure we talked about, erasing a person's memories and basic orientation.
It's just devastating. So basically, the nervous system protects itself with fluid and bubble wrap. It divides labor across these highly specialized regions, and it communicates via insulated microscopic synapses.
It really is a masterpiece of biology.
It is. And as you take your biology test, consider this.
Oh, this is a good point.
The neurons firing to help you remember these exact answers are physically rewiring your brain in real time.
Yeah, neuroplasticity in action.
Exactly. Because of neuroplasticity, you will literally leave the exam room with a structurally different brain than the one you walked in with.